Hello children, welcome to the virtual class for English. In today's session, you're going to hear about stanza-wise explanation and poetic devices used in the poem The Inchcape Rock. So let's get started. No stir in the air, no stir in the sea. The ship was still as she could be. Her hairs from heaven received no motion. Her keel was steady in the ocean. In the first stanza, the poet has used three poetic devices: repetition, antithesis, and anaphora. Repetition is a poetic device in which words are repeated. Here, no stir is repeated again and again. Then he has used anaphora, repeating a specific word or phrase at the beginning of line or passage. Here, her sails, her keel is repeated. The third poetic device used here is antithesis. In antithesis device, two opposite ideas are put together, as in this first stanza, no stir in the air, no stir in the sea. Air and sea, these two opposite ideas are put together. Now let's move towards the explanation. In the first stanza of the poem, the poet describes the calmness of the sea. The air, the sea, the ship, all were still. The sails of the ship were getting no motion from the wind. Its keel was steady in the ocean. Without either sign or sound of their shock, the waves flowed over the Inchcape rock. So little they rose, so little they fell, they did not move the Inchcape bell. Here again, repetition is used as so little is repeated. Antithesis is also used in the second stanza as well. So little they rose, so little they fell. Rose and fell, two opposite ideas are put together. Here, personification is used. In personification, inanimate objects are given human characteristics. Here, waves are referred as they. In the second stanza, the poet describes the mild sea waves. The waves were rising and falling so little that they did not make any sign or sound. The waves were gently flowing over the Inchcape rock without moving or ringing the bell. The abbot of Aberbrothock had placed that bell on the Inchcape rock. On a buoy in the storm, it floated and swung, and over the waves its warning rung. In this third stanza, poet has used poetic device inversion. Inversion is a term which refers to inverting of the normal word order in a sentence to maintain a particular meter or rhyming scheme. Here, on a buoy in the storm, in the buoy in the storm, it floated and swung is used. The third stanza is about the bell. The good old abbot of Aberbrothock positioned the Inchcape bell there on the Inchcape rock. During the storms, it floated on a buoy and rang wildly, swung by the high tides, to alert everyone that the dangerous rock was there. When the rock was hid by the surge's swell, the mariners heard the warning bell, and then they knew the perilous rock and blessed the abbot of Aberbrothock. Here, alliteration is used. As we know, in alliteration, the consonant sound is repeated at the beginning of adjacent or nearby words. Here in the first line, the surges swell. Sir sound is repeating. Again, anaphora is used here, the last two lines. And then they knew the perilous rock, unblessed, and then an unblessed are used here, and it denotes that anaphora figure of speech is used in this stanza. In the fourth stanza, the poet tells us how the bell guided the mariners in the bad weather. The seamen could not see the rock as it stayed hidden under the high waves during the storms, but they could hear the ringing bell and went away from the perilous rock. So the bell saved their lives. Then the seafarers blessed the abbot for his good job. The sun in heaven was shining gay. All things were joyful on that day. The seabirds screamed as they wheeled around, and there was joyance in their sound. In this stanza, symbolism is used, as heaven means in the sky. Again, personification is also used here. The sun is described as gay. The fifth stanza delivers a cheerful atmosphere, as it generally happens before every disaster. On a particular bright day, everything looked joyful. The seabirds were whirling over the sea and screaming in joy. The buoy of the Inchcape bell was seen, a darker speck on the ocean green. Sir Ralph the rower walked his deck, and he fixed his eye on the darker speck. In this sixth stanza, inversion is used. A darker speck on the ocean green. The order of the words is changed for the poetic effect. In the sixth stanza of the poem, Sir Ralph is introduced for the first time. On that fine day, the buoy on the Inchcape rock was clearly visible, as it was a blackish spot in the green ocean. Sir Ralph the rower went on to the deck of his vessel and gazed at dark spot of the buoy. He felt the cheering power of spring. It made him whistle, it made him sing. His heart was mirthful to excess, but the rower's mirth was wickedness. Here, in the seventh stanza, figure of speech, onomatopoeia is used. Onomatopoeia are the sound words, and alliteration is also used here. As we can see it, his heart, her sound is repeating. In the seventh stanza, we come to know Ralph's feeling and thoughts. He was delighted at the good spring atmosphere. He was making whistling sounds and singing in joy. He was actually overjoyed. But no one knew that a sinful thought in his mind was behind this happiness. His eye was on the Inchcape float. Quoth he, "My men, put out the boat and row me to the Inchcape rock, and I'll plug the abbot of Aberbrothock." Here, the poet has used inversion. The order of the words are changed. Quoth he, "My men, put out the boat." This is example of inversion. Again, anaphora is used, and row and I will is repeated. In the eighth stanza, the rower himself speaks and reveals his desire. His eyes were fixed on the floating buoy on the Inchcape rock. Sir Ralph the rower ordered his crew to take the boat to the Inchcape rock. Then he says that he is going to plug the good work of the abbot of Aberbrothock. The boat is lowered, the boatmen row, and the Inchcape rock they go. Sir Ralph bent over from the board and he cut the bell from the Inchcape float. Again here, inversion is used. This ninth paragraph describes that the rover's men took the boat to the Inchcape rock. There he bent over the board and cut the bell from the rock. Down sunk the bell with a gurgling sound. The bubbles rose and burst around. Quoth Sir Ralph, the next who comes to the rock won't bless the abbot of Aberbrothock. Here, onomatopoeia is used as gurgling. It is a sound word. Again, inversion is used. The lines, down sank the bell with a gurgling sound, and quoth Sir Ralph. This denotes that inversion is used here. The next stanza pictures how the bell was sinking down, making the bubbling sound. Bubbles rose and burst around. Sir Ralph was happy, thinking that the bell would save no more ships and the seamen would no longer bless the abbot. Sir Ralph the rover sailed away. He scored the sea for many a day, and now, grown rich with plundered store, he stirs his course for Scotland's shore. Here, in this 11th stanza, alliteration is used as Scotland's shore, Sir sound is repeating. Sir Ralph the rover then sailed away from the rock. Thereafter, he had robbed and looted many ships, which met accidents crashing to the Inchcape rock. He is now a rich man with all the looted treasures. And today, he is going to the Scotland shore with his ship. So thick a haze o'erspreads the sky, they cannot see the sun on high. The wind hath blown a gale all day, at evening it had died away. The 12th stanza describes the gloomy atmosphere on the day. The rover is sailing to Scotland. The sun is hidden behind the thick fog. Strong winds were blowing all the day, and now in the evening it has stopped blowing. On the deck the rover takes his stand. So dark it is, they see no land. Quoth Sir Ralph, it will be lighter soon, for there is the dawn of the rising moon. In the 13th stanza, the gloom continues. The rover is now on the deck of his ship. They can't see land as it is very dark. Sir Ralph assures that the moon will appear soon and so there will be light. In this stanza, inversion is used. Canst hear, said one, the breakers roar? For methinks we should be near the shore. Now where we are, I cannot tell, but I wish I could hear the Inchcape bell. In the 14th stanza, one of Ralph's men says that he hears the roaring sound of the waves breaking against something, so he hopes they should be near the shore. He also regrets that the Inchcape bell is no more, as it could guide them in this situation. Again, in this stanza, inversion is used. Now, where we are, we cannot tell. This line denotes the inversion. They hear no sound. The swell is strong. Though the wind hath fallen, they drift along, till the vessel strikes with a shivering shock Oh Christ, it is the Inchcape rock. In the 15th stanza, there is no sound heard. The tides were strong. The rower and his team are drifting along with the ship. Suddenly, the vessel gets a jerking. They all realize that the vessel has hit the Inchcape rock. In this stanza, alliteration is used as shivering shock. Sir Ralph the rower tore his hair. He cursed himself in his despair. The waves rush in on every side. The ship is sinking beneath the tar. Here again, alliteration is used as his hair, her sound is repeated. Anaphora is also used. The waves, the ship. In the 16th stanza, Sir Ralph the rower pulls his hairs in frustration. He curses himself for his evil deeds. Meanwhile, the water fills in every corner of the vessel and it starts sinking in the sea. But even in his dying fear, one dreadful sound could the rower hear, a sound as if with the Inchcape bell, the devil below was ringing his knell. Here, inversion is used. In this last stanza of the poem, as the rower is dying, he hears a sound like the ringing of the Inchcape bell. It was actually his death knell that the devil himself was ringing beneath the water. Children, we find the extensive use of alliteration, inversion, imagery, anaphora, and personification in this poem. Study all these poetic devices and write down in your notebook. That's all for today. We'll meet in the next session. Thank you.